Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano catch-up. So been a great day for crypto markets in general. Yesterday too, with Bitcoin making some huge moves and the rest of the market following along. Later today or tomorrow morning, I'm going to put out a video looking at Bitcoin as it approaches all-time highs, the halving, and talk about Cardano and is it ready for a bull run yet? I think even if the bull run takes a little bit longer to come down to other coins, tokens, that wouldn't be a bad thing for Cardano, and I'll explain in that one. In this one, we're going to get into some of the biggest updates I've seen the last few days. ADA Markets, we released a bubble feature. Levvy Finance with the Levvy token replacing SOC for Levvy Finance. AXO announced more on their roadmap. Some really interesting things coming there. Splash Tokenomics, Butane with a massive raise on their token sale, showing that there is liquidity there for projects on Cardano, and we'll take a look at a few other things. Timestamps will be below. Give the video a like, share it out, let people know what's going on, subscribe if you're new, do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. Okay, couldn't do a crypto video today without briefly showing what the crypto markets look like, and Bitcoin just under 57 right now, but up nearly 10%, over 57 now, was up over 10% earlier on today, and the ADA price up to 62 cents. So I'm going to cover a lot more on that in the second video, either later today or tomorrow morning, so make sure you subscribe for that one. And some of the stuff we'll talk about is the post that I put out here just before this video about Bitcoin being roughly 20% from its all-time highs. Previously, we have never broken the all-time high before the Bitcoin halving. It's going to get very close this time. Look, as I say here, big picture, it doesn't matter. But we'll get into stuff like that, as well as looking at the rest of the market and where they sit in terms of their all-time highs. So first Cardano topic then for today, ADA Markets, which is the DEX aggregator that I am personally a part of. We released a new feature in the last few days, Cardano bubbles. So crypto bubbles is something I've looked at over the last few years for the wider crypto market, and we thought that Cardano could do with something like that, and this is the first version. We're going to be putting a lot more information and different ways to view different stats on Cardano into this too. So when you come in, you can get your quick overview of how the markets look. So at the minute, this is the top 50 tokens, and that's by the market cap for the last 7 days, and this is against ADA, so you see how the tokens are performing. You can see currently AGIX is the biggest gainer for the last 7 days, and SOC is the biggest loser in it, and that is down to Levvy bringing out their own token, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. You can change this to the hourly, or you can change it to the daily, and you can see some big gains for a few tokens here in the last 24 hours, and we're going to expand this out. Also, you can look at whatever tokens are in your wallet. So this is a test wallet I have. You can see these are the tokens that are in that wallet, so you can keep track of that, or your favorites tab. So whatever tokens you add on the swap function over here, then you can add them in and they will appear in your favorite tokens. So links for that is down below. This is our first release out of beta, and we haven't put any UI fees on it. So at the minute, it's still whatever fees you pay for the DEXs is all you pay for using the platform here. At some point, we will introduce a small UI fee, and that's how the platform will be sustainable. But for now, we're paying for the servers, putting our own time into it, and looking to just build the best possible platform we can for the community. Next, LenFi. So LenFi launched their V2. I had Mantis on the channel last week to talk about what V2 was going to bring, so I will leave a link to that below if you missed it. I will have a tutorial coming out on this probably tomorrow or the next day to dive into LenFi V2, how you use it, and we'll cover some of the aspects like this that LenFi have posted of why would you actually use it. So they're giving some examples here, which is great. Saves me trying to type all of that stuff out. So we'll go through some of that of why you would use a lending and borrowing platform. But a quick look at the platform right now. So you can see these are all the pools, and anyone who hasn't seen lending and borrowing before, LenFi do it slightly different than something like Levvy Finance or like Liquid, which I've covered before and will be covering again soon in the DeFi series. With this one here, this is the supply token. So you could come in here, you could supply LenFi into this pool, and anybody who wants to borrow that out needs to put up ADA as collateral. So you, as the person who supply LenFi here, then you would earn 3.61% based on the APRs right now. For someone to come in and borrow out, it costs them 3% to borrow out the LenFi, and they're putting up ADA as their collateral. So it's the same here. You have IAG, ADA, SNEC, ADA. And if I look at the supply, so down here, the ADA SNEC pool. So this is the supply token is ADA. So you could borrow out ADA over here and put up SNEC as your collateral. If you're putting ADA into this pool, then you could be earning 12.37% APR, which is a lot higher than the staking rewards. These things all move, they're variables, and they move up and down with supply and demand. And I'll cover a lot more of that when I do the deep dive. So when we're on lending and borrowing, we will take a look at Levvy Finance, which there's been a bit of controversy over in the last week. Anyone not familiar with it? It's a lending and borrowing platform on Cardano. Started out as a landmark from the Ape Society, one of the landmarks in their ecosystem. And they were using the SOC, the Society token, for the platform. So there was an announcement someday last week, I can't remember the exact day now, and it was that Levvy was going to bring out their own token. If you look at, let's look at the last 7 days here. If we look at SOC minus 40%, if we load up the chart, you can see it must have come out here around the 20th of February. So this day last week, and you've seen the markets dropped. There was talk then of the airdrops and things that will be done for SOC, and the market's pushed back up again, but since then really has been falling down. Now there are going to be airdrops for some of the holders. If we go back here, you can see there was an airdrop snapshot yesterday. And so Levvy users, people who have used the platform previously, are going to get 291,000 Levvy tokens. TAS holders, which is the Ape Society, the NFTs, they are going to be getting 40,000. Quotas are going to get 40,000 as well. SOC staking, so anyone staking on the Levvy platform with SOC is going to be getting an initial airdrop of 27. And then there's ongoing airdrops for people who are staking their SOC. I think now that the airdrop is done, you can't get involved in that. So that's why we're probably seeing even more of a sell-off with SOC. And then in their staking pool, you can also earn Levvy tokens there for people who are delegated to that. But I will leave links to all of that below for anyone who wants to dive a bit deeper into it. Should they have a separate token? Should they not? I'll leave that up to you. I might do a deeper dive video into it at some point. Still looking at all the different... There's lots of different opinions out there, lots of different screenshots about things that were said in the past and things that are said now. And so I'm going to put it all together and maybe put something out on that. But just on the actual sale then, so the public sale is going to happen on March 4th for the new token. It'll be like Butane and other sales recently, which are pro rata. So that means that there is 24 hours for people to come in and put in ADA. They have a target here, a funding cap of 9.3 million ADA. That's what they're looking to raise. If they get more than that put in the 24 hours, then what happens is you will get a percentage of your ADA back and a percentage of the Levvy token you will be due. Sale price 2.32 and the listing price will be slightly higher at 250. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Is the community still looking to really get behind the platform after the change with the token? They've built a really solid platform, that has to be said, with lending and borrowing. Done different than what LenFi have or what Liquid Finance. They put timeframes on it. So when you take out a loan, you lend or you supply or you borrow, then you pick a time of 7 days, 14 days and 28 days. And if you don't pay back within that time frame, the loan gets liquidated. We've seen people using it where if the loan, the collateral they've put up drops below the value of what they took out, they just don't return it. And it means that the lender can get caught sometimes on that. But that's something we can dive into in another video. And links to all of this will be left down below. So I just want to mention Butane for the sale there. If we look at the Butane token sale, happened a few days ago. They raised nearly 50. I think there's a... Here we go. So this one shows it a bit clearer. So just under 50 million ADA was deposited into the smart contract within the 24 hours. And that meant that 80% of what people put in got refunded back because they had a funding cap of 9.6 million ADA and there was 10.75 Butane tokens up for that, and that left a price of 0.9. So what they done then after the 24 hours was they refunded 80%, or when you done your claim, you got 80% of your ADA back and you got a percentage of the Levvy tokens back. So it equated to, they distributed the 10.75 Butane tokens and they kept 9.6 million of the ADA. So I know people knew that once it went over, I think this screenshot here showed it, the different caps. So people knew ongoing what was happening. So as it started to go over the cap, people knew that they were going to get a percentage of their ADA back. So they put in extra that they mightn't have put in if it was a straight buy. But it definitely shows that there is liquidity there if people want, if the right project comes along. Now, Butane is still on testnet. I'll leave links for people to check it out. I think really has a lot of potential, the actual platform. Definitely something I will probably be using myself. I haven't put out a video yet on the testnet, I don't think. If the mainnet's going to be another few weeks away, I might do one on the testnet. I like this option here that when you create a CDP, so CDP is a collateralized debt position. So it means that you put up your ADA. Well, with Indigo, you put up your ADA and you take out a loan in IBTC, IUSD, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But with this, you can use multiple collateral types. So you can see here, I wanted to create a CDP for USDS. And so I have the option for however much I want. So let's say 1,000 is what I want, so $1,000. My options for collateral then, so I have ADA at the minute, but if I click in here, I could put IUSD as collateral, I could put my USD, and then I can put in individual amounts for each of these. One thing this does do is that, say the price of one of these assets completely tanks on the market, then let's say you had SOC as a collateral type and something happens, there's an announcement like that, the market drops 30%, your position here is less, there's less risk on it because of that one asset dropping 30%. If they all drop, then obviously your position is at risk. But if only one of them drops, then your position is a little bit safer, especially if you're using some stables like this, like IUSD. I know it has the depeg issues right now. V2 is definitely going to be looking at stabilizing that peg. And I think the target will be to keep it above 97 cent. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I really like this, and there's lots of other aspects that they're trying to do that I think it's great to have competition in the space. So Indigo, currently the number one for TVL on Cardano, and has had a really solid platform since launch. The only issues being the peg for IBTC and IUSD, but the platform itself has been solid. And in V2, they're looking at really trying to hone in and put fixes in place to let the community fix the peg price of the different assets, which we'll cover in a second. But Butane, definitely one to check out if you're into DeFi and trying to figure out some of the different DeFi strategies. And I will have my beginner DeFi series coming out in the next few weeks, so make sure and sub for that one too. So just when we're talking on Butane, we will go on to the depeg with Indigo. So if you look right now, IBTC is trading for $47,000. And if you look at the Bitcoin price, if we look at it here, it's trading at over 57. So 57,240. So it's not, it's down to the supply and demand right now. So right now on the actual market, there isn't enough of buyers. So I could come in with my ADA to Indigo. I could put up my ADA and I could mint IBTC. So then I could go and sell it on the market and use that for something else. But right now there's just more sellers than there is buyers. There's no incentive for me as someone outside of that system to come in and buy IBTC. And if I buy it at this price, I have nothing to cash it in against. So if you look at fiat-backed stablecoins, the reason that they keep their peg so well is that if the market ever dips below $1, then you can buy it on the open market and cash it in with the likes of Circle or with USDT at the actual source. So that's V2 of Indigo is moving something in around them lines where you'll be able to buy it on the open market and put it in against the liquidity pools on Indigo to help with CDPs over there. So it's definitely something to do a completely separate video on, but I will put that one together fairly soon. And it was actually Zach, when I put out my comment today, to posted this one here. That's why I wanted to give it a mention, just to show the difference that's there. And it does hamper some of the strategies that you would be able to do with synthetics if the peg actually stayed where it's meant to be. Some other things then to cover would be AXO Trade starting to really spread their wings. So the DEX went live 2 weeks ago at this, maybe 3 weeks ago at this point, and they're starting to roll out now what the rest of the roadmap is going to look like. So first up is going to be index funds. So this will be where you can buy buy an index, basically it self-balances. So I buy an index of, say, synthetics. So butane and indigo are in the index. I put in so much ADA into it. I then own both butane and indigo, and when the prices go up and down, the index would rebalance itself. That's a very simplistic view of it, but we'll dive deeper into it when these types of things get closer to launch, or when I'm able to sit down with Jarek. Interesting one then for lending and borrowing. So this is all kind of coming from programmable swaps and the base that they've built with the DEX, but lending and borrowing will be up next after that. So like we've talked about in this one, LenFi and Levvy and Liquid, there's going to be a lot of competition in the space. And for us, the end users, things like this is always good because it gives us more opportunities to earn extra yield on the assets we already have. And then there was another one. So options trading is the next one. And I think they're due to put out another post today on the roadmap. So maybe there's going to be an extra option coming out there too. So options trading will be coming after lending and borrowing. So really looking to be a complete all-in-one DeFi protocol. I think actually one final one before we finish, Splash, which is currently we have Spectrum Finance is a DEX on Cardano and Ergo. They're rebranding to Splash. There's going to be a new token for this. Again, there's going to be a public sale. Haven't seen a date on that yet, but they did put out their tokenomics here, and I will try and sit down with the team fairly soon to have a talk about what's going to be different with Splash, what are the changes going to be, put out some nice screenshots of different features on it, and it looks like it will be a really good protocol to use going forward. It will be a DEX, just like Spectrum, but will have some extra features thrown in there too. So you can take a look at the different tokenomics there and see what you want to do if you want to get involved. Or there is airdrops for people who are trading on Spectrum, who have traded in the past or provided liquidity. There will be potential for airdrops there. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you got some value from this and enjoy the markets looking green. I will talk to you soon.